Shalom Akim, all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bashim Kwakadash. Double honor to the apostle of Great Millstone. Salutation to you, Akim, doing the work in truth, sincerity. Now, y'all remember this, right?
These are terrible people, and we have to get tough on those people because we can have all the blue ribbon committees we want, but if we don't get tough on the drug dealers, we're wasting our time. Just remember that. We're wasting our time. And that toughness includes the death penalty. Some of these drug dealers will kill thousands of people during their lifetime. Thousands of people.
Now, this is the part where you know that he's talking about you Israelites.
And destroy many more lives than that. But they will kill thousands of people during their lifetime. And they'll get caught, and they'll get 30 days in jail. Or they'll go away for a year. Or they'll be fined. And yet if you kill one person, you get the death penalty or you go to jail for life. So if we're not going to get tough on the drug dealers who kill thousands of people and destroy so many people's lives, we are just doing the wrong thing.
And yes, that's all pointed towards you so-called Negroes. It's all pointed towards you so-called Negroes, man. He basically he subbed the word drug dealer for niggas. Niggers. Understand that. He wasn't talking about the American people who bring over these opioids and bring all this dope to the American shores, because this video is Trump calls for death penalty for drug dealers to combat opioids. You so-called niggers, y'all ain't selling opioids. They getting that from the hospitals. But he's clearly talking about you niggas, man. And that's why Esau got so happy and glad over that MAGA, that Make America Great Again. All you jakes that's what is the word, enamored by Donald Trump. Y'all think he's such a great person? Hey, this motherfucker is ready to kill you and the rest of your people, whether they drug dealers or not. Like I said, he's just subbing the word drug dealer for blacks, because that's what he means. And that's why that MAGA thing got so big. This is Genesis 27:42, and these words of Esau, and these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah, and she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, proposing to kill thee. That's why every Edomite loved this speech that Trump gave.
These are terrible people, and we have to.
These are terrible people. Who's the terrible people? Because he's not talking about drug dealers. Because you can see the title here, the death penalty for drug dealers to combat opioids. And you know blacks, you so-called blacks, African American, y'all don't sell opioids. But he's clearly talking about you.
To get tough on those people because we can have all the blue ribbon committees we want, but if we don't get tough on the drug dealers, we're wasting our time.
You don't get tough on the niggers, you're wasting your time. That's what he really wants to say, because that's what he means. And he basically pointed it out when you listen to the rest of the video. Read it again, Genesis 27:42. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah, And she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. So then Edomites was, hey, make America great again. And when Edomites think of making America great again, there's 3 periods of time when they're thinking about. The obvious one is slavery. That's the obvious one they're thinking about. They'll never say it. They'll never admit it now, because it's a shame now. You know, going back to Obadiah 1 and 10, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. And that's coming in the future. Thou shalt be cut off forever. Right now, they're ashamed at the violence that they did to Jake, but this is still what they think about as their greatest times in history. One of the times. What is time number 2? The 1890s. America in 1890. By 1890, the United States had by far the world's most productive economy. Basically, Jake was fresh out of slavery and barely anywhere to be seen. American industry produced twice as much as the closest competitor, Britain, but the United States was not a great military or diplomatic power. Its armies numbered less than 30,000 troops, and its navy had only about 10,000 seamen. But this is one of the times they think of America being great. Jake was barely to be seen. And Esau had an economic boom at this time. But the only problem was when Jake did get on the scene, Jake started establishing themselves. Esau had a problem with it. That's why they don't talk about the early 1900s. Remember, in the 1890s, we were 30 years out of slavery. By the early 1900s, 1900 to about 1920 or 30, Jake had basically taught themselves how to read, write, and own businesses. Jake owned banks, and the economy continued to boom under Jake. And Esau had a problem with that. So Esau brought his military, his 30,000 trained troops, the National Guard, to destroy all the towns that Jake had built, including Tulsa, Oklahoma, Kentucky. You hear about Redwood, Florida, I believe it was, Arkansas. Jake was in politics. Jake had seats in high offices. Jake was basically the economy in the early 1900s. That's why it cuts off at 1900. Again, for the shame, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Because that's what they did during this period of time, the 1900s to about the 1930s and 40s. They destroyed all of the Jake communities, all of the so-called black communities, which they call Black Wall Street. So this is the second time that Esau thinks about when he think about making America great again. And what is the third time that Esau thinks of when he thinks of making America great again? The 1950s. Says, the 1950s were a decade marked by the post-World War II boom, the dawn of the Cold War and civil rights movements in America. Basically, in the 1950s, they had another economic boom after World War II. And guess what it has in common with the rest of the times? Jake was barely to be seen. This is what Esau thinks about when he thinks about making America great again. Jake being scarce. Either Jake being under slavery under them, or Jake being subservient and barely seen. That's what Esau thinks about when he thinking about making America great again. And part of making America great again is the death penalty. So you Jakes can be scarcely seen or not seen at all. That's what this devil is talking about. And yes, he might just get in for the final term. Why? Because he said this. Because he's ready to give the death penalty to you Jakes, man. To you blacks. You drug dealers. Because you can look at his face and tell he ain't thinking about Edomites when he's talking about that. He's not thinking about putting devils like himself to death. When he ran for the presidency the first time, he says he knows the system because he uses the system. That's how he knows it's rigged. And guess what? He's still using the system. Only thing is now, they got a lot of you blacks on his side. And when he get in, yes, he'll be happy to implement his plan to bring back the death penalty to you niggas, man. You blacks, you African Americans. And I think the point has been made. With that, I'm going to say Shalom. All praise and glory to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai, Bashim, Kwakadash. Double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutation to you, I can do in the work and truth and sincerity. Till next time, Shalom.